Lake George, the pride of St. Cloud, Minnesota. Residents of this town see it every day on their way to work. But very few know the story behind it.
Well, I'd been around St. Cloud for about 15 years, and it just seemed odd for this little lake to be in the middle of a very developed city. And I was just curious as to what the story behind it was. Was it always just a small lake, or was there more to it than what you saw just driving down Division?
We will be taking an in-depth look as to how this lake became the icon for St. Cloud, Minnesota. When St. Cloud was first founded in 1856, south of what would become its downtown area lied a swamp. This swamp contained a lake that the first surveyor of Stearns County, R.B. Blake, named after Mr. George Schaefer, who owned the surrounding land at the time. The lake was initially used to harvest ice. The ice was used for refrigeration, as using ice was the only viable way to preserve food in a household. During the warmer seasons, people often used the lake for leisure activities like swimming and fishing. Housing on the lake was not uncommon at this time. In the late 1800s, a massive rainstorm hit St. Cloud and created a ravine that connected Lake George to the Mississippi River. This ravine covered a distance of approximately 3,500 feet. Over a century later, remnants of the ravine still exist between the lake and the river, and because the two were now connected, water from Lake George slowly drained into the river, prompting locals to demand the city build a dam in order to save the lake. Over the following decades, additions of roads, including a boulevard, and a park were built to encourage more visitors to the lake. Lake George also saw its locals using its water supply for their homes instead of the Mississippi River. In 1926, the city of St. Cloud acquired the property of Lake George from the St. Cloud Ice Company and immediately began to dredge the lake via the Minneapolis Dredging Company. The plan was to make the lake deeper and use what was dug up to fill the north and south sides of the lake. After 2 years of work, the lake shrunk from 23 acres down to 7 acres.
I guess the thing that surprised me the most is how big the lake used to be when the city of St. Cloud was first being settled. I guess I hadn't thought of the lake as being filled in to make room for houses and ending up as small as it did.
Some areas of the newly dredged lake are 35 feet deep due to the discovery of a large granite supply which was buried underneath. The next 50 years saw Lake George increase its recreational facilities. The south side of the lake received a new park named Eastman Park, after the owner of the St. Cloud Journal-Press. In 1946, a public Olympic-sized swimming pool was also built in Eastman Park. However, the city demolished it in 2002 after receiving little usage compared to the preceding years. The north side of the lake became the Williams Garden. This garden included many walkways and stone bridges, but it too was demolished. this time during the late 1950s to build Highway 15 and the 9th Avenue intersection in its place. East of the lake, a warming house was built in 1936 to accommodate residents using the lake for ice skating, which has also been torn down, but a new warming house has been built in its place. With all the deconstruction happening, Lake George experienced lots of renovations to its park at the turn of the century. In the year 2000, the city planned on improving the surrounding area of the park, including safer sidewalks around the lake, a pier east of the lake, and a fountain sculpture northeast of the lake. These were all built in the following years, and in 2007, Eastman Park received a splash pad and a new playground for children to use over the site where the public swimming pool used to lie. A plaza, picnic areas, public restroom, and concession building were also built in Eastman Park, as well as the community center on site being renovated to provide the service of renting out rooms to people to use for meetings, birthday parties, or any activity they desire. As Lake George is connected to a park, it hosts a wide variety of local wildlife as well. Even in the winter months, these ducks still call Lake George their home, and they will refuse to leave until the lake is fully frozen. The biggest addition to Lake George in recent history is the creation of Summertime by George. Summertime by George was produced by the St. Cloud Rotary Club in 2011. For 12 weeks straight all summer, St. Cloud hosts a gathering on Wednesday evenings for anyone to stop by and indulge themselves. Activities available at Summertime by George include a farmer's market, car shows, art fairs, family and children-specific sections, food vendors, and much more. One of the most popular features of Summertime by George is the live music played at the plaza.
The Rotary built the stage and everything. It really became, at least for the years that I've been here, a place to gather. I mean, they've spent a lot of money there and really tried to bring it back to the way it was years ago.
With the updates that have been made to it, with the water park, with the band shell, although it sits in the city, for a long time it wasn't part of what went on in downtown. And I think that's really changed, and it's become more integral to people getting outside, enjoying the city.
It's turned into, like I said, the first year we passed on it, and that was probably a mistake. And since then, it's surely grown into not just the armadillos, but the average night, I think, is now up to almost 10,000 people. We draw close to 20,000, but it's become a great thing for the city, and to get all those people together and not have real big security problems, to have basically everybody having a good time and making it a safe event for families is pretty amazing. I know a lot of cities that ask us to do shows want to pattern themselves after what St. Cloud's started.